Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Silver Years. My name is DK, and I'm very happy to be here, and I humbly thank you for joining me. Today, I'd like to talk about the challenge of living in today's world, the pressures, the expectations, the judgments, the inflationary cost of living, and the protection of home, hearth, and family against a dark force that appears to be taking over our world. Obviously, there are some living the silver years who have buffered themselves against some of these challenges with solid retirement plans and other kinds of financial backup because money does indeed provide a buffer. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're untouched by these challenging changes altogether because it's highly likely their adult children are affected by them, given today's economic times and the unhealthy threats to the safety and security of their families. If you haven't noticed yet, the world around us and the system that runs it has changed in the last 30 to 50 years a lot. And many who are living the silver years can easily become detached from what it's like to be in your prime while having to provide and protect for a family in today's climate. The corporate platform that may have allowed you to become buffered after retirement is not the same today. What was available before is not as available now or in the same way. And I find it fascinating when I hear people talking about the post college goal of getting a good corporate job with benefits, such as health insurance and 401k retirement plans, as if that's still a real thing, as if that's viable and sustainable for the majority as it once was. The system, from what I've observed, is currently in the process of replacing as many human jobs as possible with AI and robotics. The human component cannot be removed altogether. It can't be removed entirely, but it is being significantly reduced. It's underway right now before our very eyes. Everywhere you turn, you see evidence of it, from the self checkout machine at your local market that has replaced the human cashier who provides personal contact and customer care, to the ordering kiosks at fast food restaurants or even sit down restaurants, for example. AI is even replacing our own higher level intelligence as we grow more dependent on it for our thinking and for answers that aren't always right or in the highest and best interest of humankind. We're letting the AI do our thinking for us while it takes away all the human jobs that it can at the same time. And with it goes the ability for those in need to maintain a sustainable living. I've heard said by the frustrated many that the inhumane world in which we live today is little more than hell on earth. Could there be some truth to that? Is living on this planet like living in hell? Maybe. It would depend on your perspective and where your beliefs align. Like everything else in the matrix system we live in, what surrounds us is highly polarized. The pendulum swings widely from light to dark and then back again. Woof. What can help us can also be used to harm us. And the concept of hell can take on a lot of interpretations depending on one's belief system. But according to the dictionary, it can mean an extremely difficult experience causing torment or anguish. I would call that having a bad patch. It can also mean separation from the divine, which to me is akin to being dead inside, which means having no connection to the source of all that is, or being basically soulless. This would coincide with the polarizing darkness and corruption we see rising to the surface everywhere we turn. Some would call this type of hell evil. From my perspective, the word evil is an inversion or the opposite of the word live, Live. Live in reverse would be evil. So, what is evil is what I consider anti life. What do you do when you're having a bad patch, when you're living through hell? It's a question I've asked myself many times over throughout my life. About 25 years ago, when I was steeped in a significant bad patch that felt like hell on earth to me, a friend of mine tried to inspire me with a Winston Churchill quote. And mind you, I am not a fan of Churchill for a variety of reasons I won't go into here, but I found some value in his quote. The quote was, "If you're going through hell, keep going." The quote stuck with me because it holds truth. What are you going to do if you don't keep going? Stop in the middle of hell? Resist all movement and anchor in for more? When in hell, keep going. Plow right on through because it won't last forever. And getting stuck in hell through resistance isn't going to fix anything either. By plowing through it, the energetics will change. And with a change in the frequency, the circumstances will always alter. This is Quantum 101. In this, we're also reminded, courtesy of Albert Einstein, what the definition of insanity is. In case you haven't heard it, Einstein defines insanity as doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. This could mean that the time you spend plowing through hell could be time well spent on exploring new and different ways to change the energetics of your bad patch, which means, in practical terms, that progress or different results will likely not be forthcoming from doing the same things that created the bad patch in the first place. In other words, a change in tactics may be the way to go, a change in perspective, making a different choice, a change in approach. It's never too late to change your mind, your approach, and the outcome. Never. Another thing I discovered for myself is that there's a correlation between going through hell and feeling like a victim. Victim consciousness is widely accepted in our world. It's widely accepted and even rewarded to some extent. But I've come to see that it's a big trap that keeps you immobilized or stuck in hell. This doesn't mean that we aren't victims of something, because the truth is, anyone living on this planet has been victimized in any number of ways. We are all victims in one form or another. Apparently, it's part of the polarity experience we're here to undergo in this highly polarized reality we live in. We get to know what it's like to be a victim. Yet we also have the opportunity to know what it's like to be the victor. What's important is to not let the label of victim to become your identity, who you are. That to me is what it means to be trapped in hell. There's no movement when you're identified as a victim, because victim consciousness is usually trapped in the past or in hell, which creates the feeling of being powerless and helpless. Churchill's quote, "If you're going through hell, keep going," is not the affirmation of a victim. It's the affirmation of action, of change through action. I find that it coincides with the old American saying, and I'm sure we've all heard it, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Yeah, popular one. So, how can we keep going when there is so much hardship, darkness, and anti life activities swirling around us like never before? Where to begin? Well, a good place to start, in my experience, is with gratitude, finding something to be grateful for, something small, something large, anything. We can all find something to be grateful for, no matter how entrenched we may be in our victimhood, justified or not. And yes, I get it. Finding something to be grateful for can be a challenge when you're feeling victimized while trapped in hell on earth, right? Thing is, the energies of victimhood and gratitude are incompatible. They are opposite energies. And going opposite may be exactly what the situation calls for. It creates a change in perception, which in turn changes the frequency of the situation. And it does work. Gratitude is an empowering tool that I feel we don't use enough. And I'm grateful, so grateful for you being here today and listening to what I have to offer. I hope that it supports you in some positive way. Another thing that has worked for me is to look for those pockets of beauty that even the pits of hell have to offer. When things are dark, there is always an offering of light somewhere. For me, that might mean sitting on a beach somewhere and listening to the waves crash on the shoreline as the mist sprays my face, for example. That is a pocket of beauty. That to me is beautiful. For you, it could be anything that lifts the spirit: your garden, your grandchildren, a walk in the park, helping another in need, dancing, listening to music, a joyful memory or moment, focusing on something beautiful that has meaning for you can replace the darkness with light, even if it's a temporary break. I'm finding this tool to be more useful as the world around us becomes more chaotic and anti life. Finding a pocket of beauty when in hell can be a great motivator to keep going. You just have to find what that is for you. Now, let me say, just as a reminder, that like most of the things I discuss on my channel, this topic is extremely multi layered and multifaceted, which means that it's not just one thing that makes it all so. It's many layers of things over time that has gotten us to where we are today. What I'm trying to shed light on here are simply some of the significant factors I've observed when it comes to our collective need to carry on and keep going, even when the world around us looks dark and hopeless, like we're living in hell on earth. All said, in the end, I feel it's our responsibility to get educated, to learn as much as we can about how we can improve our personal realities through the use of perception tools that can change the frequency of the experience, because it's all in the frequency of things. So, before I go, I'd like to leave you with a question to ponder, as I like to do. What tools have you used to keep going when maneuvering through a bad patch? Please leave your comments below. And also, please like and share this video and subscribe to the channel to help it grow. If that's what you're called to do, I would appreciate it. Your participation is important. Until next time, be well, choose love, and thank you. Thank you for listening. Goodbye for now.